It's like that clockwork. Customer just dropped this off. Cylinder 1 misfire, breachy belt, and an EGR code. Also going to be looking elsewhere in the meantime. Show you guys an old service truck trick. I'm gonna show you the cheapest, biggest, best, most effective catch pan, drain pan that is on the market, and it is readily available during the summer exclusively at Walmart. You're not gonna find a catch pan as good as a Walmart pool. Covers up almost 50% of the lower portion of the vehicle. My phone is recording temperatures of 99, 98 degrees Fahrenheit in the sun over that truck, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the old air blaster over here, start cooling it down a little. So you guys, what's y'all's opinion on pickled okra? My opinion's simple. I bought this from a guy, I don't know, Long Branch Pickled Okra Farm. It says okra, water, vinegar, salt, dill pulp, dill seed, dill flavor. So the okra is all the same, pretty much. But I used to know an old timer. He used to make okra and he used to put it up and let it sit, and god dang, I've never had okra as good as this old timer's was. His homemade, home seasoned okra. But pickled okra, I like it. It has a very cool consistency. I never eat the tips or the tops right there, but I eat the whole stem. Pretty good for you. We got 3 codes. Cylinder misfire number 1. 402. That's EGR. I think that's EGR stuck open. Let's see the exhaust. There's the EGR tube right there in the back. That little tube right there. So the actual valve must be over here somewhere. Alright, I'm going to get some tools, take that air cleaner off. I'll be right back. Oh. That is just the weirdest shit ever on a fuel injected car. Like, I ain't no rocket scientist, but that's bullshit. Look at this. Would you want this much residual shit on your air filter? Look at all that poly freaking, what do you call it? Petroleum, plastic. I'm not sure what that is. It feels very elastic. But I would not be satisfied whatsoever if my air filter had that on it. I wouldn't even put that on my engine. That looks kind of cool. Looks like some little rims. Got some of them Fuel XD Maverick rock stars. 24 by 36, bro. It's hella wide. Got the funnel install mod. Oh wow, look. It's amazing that some of these companies even make money on these vehicles. Like, what gives with all the shit? Like, cut the shit, basically, is my point. Must be a vacuum line right there. Come on. Got it. Throw that over like so. Voila. There's all the EGR bullcrap. Now, it's important to understand if you do have an EGR that is stuck open or dirty or flowing more than it should, it has to be diagnosed. There's all kinds of systems with this EGR. There's an electronic control solenoid. There's this guy right here. I forgot what that guy's called. I'll look it up. Then you have the actual diaphragm and actuator, the actual EGR valve right there. Some systems have even more components. But I'm gonna replace the valve because the customer already provided it. Check back in with y'all. I'm not considering that this will fix the problem, but like I said, if customers want to provide it, they're more than welcome to.
I'm not considering that this will fix the problem.
But literally, all due respect to customers, you know, it's literally out of respect. Guy shows up, hands me parts, says, "Hey, how much to put these on? Can you put them on?" I mean, money's on the table, take it. And then, as a mechanic, if it doesn't fix this problem, I will go additionally from there and do what's needed. And I'll take it easy on him because he's already being generous, providing parts. You know, he's just trying to be a thoughtful person towards his vehicle, the situation. Now I got the EGR valve soaking in PV Blaster. It's got some pretty big, right there, pretty big nut on the main line in. We're gonna remove the heater core hoses, and I don't want them to be pissing on everything. So I'm gonna use these Matco pinchers to keep the lines from leaking every damn where. See, it just pinches it down right there. If you don't have a set of these, I recommend you go get some. They're very good. Removing this bracket so I can move this brake booster line. That thing is stuck in there. Alright, got that out. Let's see if I can't just... I'm probably gonna remove that entirely. If it lets me, everything's dry on this mofo. Got it. Okay. Gonna tuck that up and out the way, like so. Gonna put on my other pincher, because I do not want coolant everywhere. Maybe I should have got a smaller one. It was a little big. It's always tricky. That's an 8mm. It's always tricky doing firewall heater core hoses because they like to get stuck on the soft tubes. I'm black with an 8mm. I'm fucked up! Put this 10mm up. Let's see if we can't get these hoses out the way. What the hell is that? Looked like something fell. Oh, damn, something did fall. My nut and bolt, I got them. I need to get a new home for them. Oh, this is not going to be fun with these stupid clamps on here. There's one. That was just sheer force. I was able to rip it off. Usually that does not happen. But see, I ain't got no leaks out here. You can hear the Walmart catch can working away, just as it's intended to do. So, any of you guys that are mechanics out there know that you want to give it a twist and a pull. Alright, let me see. I'm trying to get rid of these EGR, these heater core hoses. They're really up in my business.
Get out my business
right now. Okay, let me show you guys what I can see now. Alright, so I got a transmission dipstick bracket that's way over designed. There's that little whatchamacallit I was telling you about, that little fitting right there. I got it sprayed. And now I'm gonna finish taking off this bracket. So I just removed this 10mm bracket holding this plastic thing down. I gotta look up what it's called. I can't remember. It does something with the EGR. I went to pull it up, and it has a rubber hose wrapping around onto the steel pipe going into that fitting. So that's actually, I'm kind of glad to see that. That's pretty easy to work with. So I'm just gonna pull up on the rubber. It broke, just like everything else on this system, dry rotted. So now now all I gotta do is disconnect two 10mm bolts holding the valve on and this big old fitting right here. I have a standard opened-in box wrench on that line. Now, I have to make something clear, especially on a rusty exhaust EGR system. Whenever you're trying to break a fitting loose, that is a brake line or a pressure line or any hexagonal fitting that holds a flare union together, it's important to use a line wrench. And I currently can't find my line wrenches right now. So I'm going to try it with the opened end. If it breaks free easily, I will proceed. If not, I'm going to try to sliver the box end on and down and around right there. Okay, so here goes nothing. Yep, it's on there tight. Go figure. Alright, I got to sliver this box end down and around on there. That should be interesting. It's like a Chinese puzzle. Can it be done? I might need two hands for this, YouTube. Almost. Man, stupid bracket out my way, son. Almost. Damn, this vacuum line's all junk. Definitely gonna have to sell him some vacuum line. Alright, I just thought of something. Remember how I said it's a Chinese puzzle? You have to be smarter than the puzzle. If I can get it to go on like that. Oh, look at that! Look at that! See? You guys are seeing it here first. This is what being a mechanic's about. Improvising, finding solutions that others don't see. Oh my god, it's moving the motor up. I think it's safe to say that's not going to come off very readily easy. Hell, it's already wearing out the wrench on it. Alright, here's what we're going to do. You know what, guys? Tell me in the comments, what in the hell happened to 6-point wrenches? The box end? I can't find them nowhere. I would love to have a set of non-12-point box ends. Alright, I'm going to see if I can't find a higher quality 12mm box end wrench. Holy shit. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun-dun. I found my great neck boxed my line wrench. A line wrench is like a cut open socket. Look at that. Oh, you're dirty. I think I am. No way, did that just strip? Yep. Either I'm not sure what's moving. I can't see down in there. I know I got it on it, but... Alright, I gotta get a pry bar, because that is stuck on there now. Yep, be right back. Gotta get a pry bar. Pry bar. Let's see if I can get my wrench back. Damn it, man. Got it. That thing is stuck on there. I can't tell what's happened to the fitting. I think it's maybe moved. I'm gonna bend this line out the way. I'm gonna worry about that later. I'm gonna try and just focus on getting this bracket out right here, and then getting our bigger line free from the EGR valve. No, that one's like a 12. It's way bigger. So is that one. Wasn't expecting that to have two 12 mils holding it on. Once again, amazing how they make money manufacturing some of these daggone vehicles. Literally, that held a 10 mil right here on a plastic thing. Yeah, two 12 mils. I got the socket on there. That's ridiculous. That's a lot of bolt. Honestly, the bracket would snap in half before either one of those bolts or single-handedly bolt would give up. Alright, that one's cracked free. That one's cracked free. Oh, ratchet stuck. I think the sun's starting to get fogged up by the clouds. That's very nice. If so, it's getting pretty toasty right here. Alright. I'm sorry you guys can't see anything right now. You just gotta believe that I'm turning these bolts. Listen very closely and you can hear me turning them.
His hair, whack. His gear, whack. His jewelry, whack. His footsteps, whack. The way that he talks, whack. The way that he doesn't even like to smile, whack.
Ooh, almost got one out. Almost. Ooh, I can feel it. Oh yeah, got one out. That is that's what you call an L7 grade bolt. Alright, got the hand access mod in there. Speed, release. Oh, I just dropped the bolt. Son of a bitch. I don't see it. It's probably laying on top of the starter. Okay. Now look at all this excess we got. There's that big old nut I was telling you about. Jesus Christ, guys. Going back to the engineer designing. It's a freaking 30 mil. There's like honestly not enough room in this cavity. Okay, so here's my wrench against the firewall, against an AC line. And then I have till I hit the throttle cable or that right there. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to get a hammer. Tappy tap that down onto the nut. And then I'm going to bust that bitch free. Tappy tap tap. Alright, let's confirm that it's on there. Oh yeah, perfect. It's flush with the nut. So now, should give that a good old pull in that yay direction, and that should be loosening the big inlet off the EGR. I'm gonna set this here cami down and try to give you guys an angle of it. Alright, don't let me down now. Oh yeah, cracked it free. Look at that. Hear that? The sound of money right there. Oh, it's getting tighter. It ran out of PB Blaster. Oh, come on. Don't get tight on me, you rusty nut. There ain't enough room in here to work you. Let's go get some channel locks on you. Alright, let me use my purse hand. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. God is good, man. God is good. Alright, that is off. There's one bolt. See, freaking horrible condition. Alright, the other one. Yep, barely. Nice. My hand, she's good and proper in there. Oh, almost got an EGR. Got it. Alright, right off the rip. I don't see anything too crazy. How to use map gas, pair of vice grips, and how to impact the vice grips with a mini sledge. You can still see it's kind of smoking because it's still pretty hot. It is so rusty and so nasty in there that even now that I've got it removed, I still can't pull it out of there. It is rusted in there. So, having that said, where'd it go? Oh, it's over here. I'm gonna put some more I'm gonna put some PB down in there now. Oh yeah, it's hot. Look at that rust coming right out. Freaking rust water. So with PB, you want to let it sit and let it work. Yeah, you want to let it sit there and work. But it's no good unless you wash it away using more PB. It's a process. You don't just squirt it on there and then hope the fucking nut breaks free right away. That's not how it works. You got to let it work. It's just like running a chainsaw or running a skill saw. You got to let the saw do the work and you're following behind it. You can't cut for the saw, so why are you trying to push it harder than it can cut? One of those kind of philosophies. Alright, partner, got the new EGR installed after hunting down the correct part. It was a breeze to put it in. Remember, don't be a dick for the next guy. Snug everything up just right. Not 80 foot-pounds on everything, 12mm fastener. But I'm not going to sit here and waste y'all's time. Y'all seen me take it off. Reverse process. I'm going to put it back together, then I'll get back with y'all. Big shocker, right? EGR did not clear up the problem.
I'm not considering that this will fix the problem.
Like I said earlier, that is a complete wrap. So, a fast recap. I ended up having to replace the actual, you can't see it with that cover on, I ain't taking it back off. That plastic thing I said I had to do some research on, I couldn't quite recall what it is commonly referred to. It is the EGR modulator. Now I believe all I did was Google the name. So there's like an 85% chance I'm wrong about the statement I'm about to make. It is a diaphragm that runs in line to the EGR diaphragm. Now I know that sounds weird. You might be saying, why is there a diaphragm running to a diaphragm? The modulator is not just a diaphragm. It has some kind of like needlepoint valve that it has 3 inputs. No, I said that wrong. It has 3 hookups on it. One is suction in, which ultimately that suction from the throttle body or the control solenoid in this scenario, that suction's going to want to pull up on the EGR valve to actuate it so it can start recirculating some gases. The second fitting into the EGR modulator is like a pressure sensing circuit from I believe in this case it is actually from the EGR valve, which is the exhaust pressure, which is commonly referred to as drive pressure. A car like this that is not turbocharged, that just has your basic catalytic converters, I'm not quite sure what the actual numbers would be of the drive pressure, but the drive pressure pushes against the diaphragm, which should, if I'm not mistaken, cut back on the suction to the EGR valve. So essentially, it's just like a fuel pressure regulator, but it doesn't use vacuum and liquid. It's all gases. There's no liquids. So you got the suction to the modulator valve, the suction through the modulator valve into the EGR diaphragm, and then underneath that, going into the diaphragm, the modulator modulates the amount of vacuum that goes to the EGR valve. Now the good God, it was late when I put this back together. The EGR can't just run wide ass open or whatever. This is a preliminary design. Nowadays they're all pulse width modulated with servos and whatnot by ECMs. There's not even vacuum lines on them half the time nowadays. This is definitely a this truck is an OBD2 truck. It is a 2002. I'm not sure how old that actual implementation is, how it's set up, but it's not one of the first, but it's definitely not one of the latest designs they have for recirculating exhaust gas for emissions. Now what's ironic is the county we live in and the surrounding counties up here in North Georgia where we're located, there's not emissions. But I understand why he did it, because it was causing a drivability issue. It was pretty much smoking out the motor, I guess you could consider it. Or it was yeah, I guess it was just getting too rich, because it was just recirculating and starting to stumble and everything. But I ended up putting the valve on there like the customer had asked. I did that. Replaced his 2 belts right there so it don't squill anymore when you start it up. And I put that EGR valve on there and the modulator. Now, sometimes I do improvise, and I will let the customer know, like, let me diagnose it. I'm going to keep your parts in the box with the receipt. But in this scenario, I did do a little bit of foresight for him and I. And I did a slight diagnosis. I scanned it and I looked at the codes. And I did have EGR related codes, so I could tell there was an EGR malfunction. So it's not a bad idea. His valve, his actual EGR valve, did not need to be replaced. I could have fixed this vehicle without putting this part on there, and I knew that to about I'm trying to give you guys a percent. There was about a 50% chance that the actual valve did not need to be replaced. But honestly, you don't know unless you take it apart and inspect it. I took the old one apart. I have it somewhere. And the diaphragm was good. It held vacuum. I checked it. The valve did not look like it was clogged up with soot or carbon or ash or anything. And it looked like it would close and open moderately. However, I did notice one thing I didn't like about it. One thing that I did not like about it was I have a Mighty Vac, so I would pump it up to apply some vacuum to the diaphragm, and it would raise the EGR up, and that's open. And I could, when I would bleed the pressure back down to closed, the actual valve stem and valve, when it would come down and hit the seat, it would hit the seat and then it would move over a little. So there was a little bit of distortion in the actual EGR valve. However, I don't think that necessarily would have caused a problem. I went ahead and proceeded with installing the customer's provided EGR valve just for additional insurance and maintenance and whatnot, especially since he's already having EGR related problems. I also took the electronic EGR control flow valve solenoid off, and I made sure it was working good. I made sure it didn't have any debris or anything in it. That was good. And I replaced all his vacuum lines and everything that are affiliated with the emissions control. So it's good to go. It doesn't squeak when you start it up. I'll demonstrate that real quick. There's our business cards if y'all were ever wondering what they looked like. Oh, let's see if it squeals. Sounds good. Last night when I did the some of the filming yesterday when I removed the EGR. It got late because what y'all didn't see on camera was where I had to run to 3 different stores and return the customer supplied part to get the correct one. And so it was pretty dark by the time I got back, and I had a bunch of work lights out, and there was a bunch of bugs, and I had to fight like hell to get both them belts on because they were both too short, and so I didn't really film much. I ended up having to do a compression test, a spark plug test, and all kinds of stuff, and then I ended up checking that modulator was bad, but once I replaced that, it quit having an intermittent misfire around 1800 RPMs. So if you have a Nissan 2.4 liter and it is misfiring and stumbling and driving rough and shaking kind of weird only at 1800, 1700, 1900 RPMs right before you cross 2000, and you have an EGR code, the modulator might be acting up because it needs it to back off that EGR so it can run more appropriately.